Taylor. I am the envy of many South Africans back home. Finally getting to interview you guys. They are so excited to finally have you guys come to South Africa and play for them. Are you guys excited?
Yeah, I can't wait to go. I've heard a lot about South Africa.
Are you guys going to go to shows in South Africa? Would you? Do you do that when you travel?
Sometimes.
Check out local bands?
I mean, you kind of... not the most excited to go see shows when you're on tour.
Yeah.
But sometimes days off we'll go see bands.
Something really special's going on. I mean, you would like when we were in Nashville recording that song in Nashville for this series. Yeah. Mine and Nate's hotel. Our hotel was right next door to this little bar club called The End, and we went there every night. And they had local hardcore, punk rock and roll bands playing every night, like 5 bands a night. It was the best.
That was great. That was really fun.
We didn't even, and 3/4 of them were horrible bands, but it was just fun to watch these.
But even
the bad ones, they really tried. You know,
there's something good about every single one of them.
Yeah,
I don't know
really
whether it's because just where we were, the club or something like that. But ordinarily, just whatever.
And a lot of folks knew who we were too, and kind of.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Well,
bands?
No, I think a lot of them were looking at us like old crusty fucks. What are you guys doing here? Beat it, old man. What are you doing in our little cool punk rock club?
Give it up, Grandpa.
It's like Led Zeppelin showing up to like the Clash show or something. Like, get out of here, you fucking dinosaurs.
Speaking about Sonic Highways, watched a bit of it last night. Really, really cool. When Dave came to you guys with a concept, what did you guys think? Did you think, wow, that wouldn't really work? Are we going to really write an album based on other people's experiences in each city?
That was the part that was that I was a little bit skeptical about.
Yeah.
Was the how it was going to work lyrically, because that's a huge stretch. And honestly, I think it really worked out well. I think it's great. I was worried it would be like just kind of like it's plagiarism, you know. Lyrics are supposed to be about something personal, like I feel this, not I heard this, you know. But because it does fit into like a cohesive story, you know, like this, we're living in these cities. There's a documentary being produced about why this studio exists, what the local music scene is, the experience of those musicians, how they got from place to place, and Dave's there like hearing these stories, and then he's able to cobble that together into something that does mean something personal to him while telling a story, you know, like this, it's about something.
Yeah.
And it happens to take little snippets of things that you can see, you know, like where the individual thoughts and pieces of the story are coming from. And I think as a piece of creativity, it totally works. If you just take that one thing, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take some lines from interviews and put them in lyrics.
Yeah.
Without the context there, I don't think it's a good idea. But it does work as a fully like formed creative thought, I think.
Brilliant. Now, how do you guys feel? Do you ever think about how Sound City and the way you guys are recording now, how that's impacting other rock bands? Because even back in South Africa, there's a producer by the name of Theo Kraus. Now, he is now recording the best bands in the country with on tape, and they're going that way again. And
it's a zeitgeist thing.
A large part of it is because of Sound City.
Maybe, but I think it's a zeitgeist thing. You know, like Pro Tools is like... It's like synthesizers in the 80s or something like that. It's like, well, it's just we're just going to make music just with synthesizers. You know, drums, bass, guitars, everything will be that. And we get excited about it, and maybe the pendulum swings too far, and then it always kind of comes back.
Yeah, and everything gets sort of overdone. It's like, yeah, in 1981, you wanted your snare sound to go, pow, and it didn't even sound like you listen to a Def Leppard song, and it doesn't even sound like a drum. By the end of the 80s, it was like, God, that's why Nirvana and those bands started. One of the reasons was because people wanted to get back to real sounding music and not this fucking overblown bullshit. Well, Pro Tools, to me, obviously, just how you record, I don't care if you record on Pro Tools, it just is a tape machine.
Yeah.
But when it's used to sort of try to make a band that's not very good sound good, then that's dishonest. I mean, I just think it is.
You know, I could totally see happening because the medium is not really that important. It's about how you do it. You know, like the sound of tape versus. I mean, they can make computers sound like tape now. So that's
they actually have a plug-in that's like tape hits.
And I've used it and it sounds great.
And it sounds fine.
It totally does. So who cares about all that? So what I could see happening would actually be sort of cool is the playback controls for like a Studer tape machine are a very particular looking thing. I could see that being connected to a Pro Tools rig, and your computer would be off in the other room, and then you get that same experience of just not looking, because that's what you do is you end up you look at the waveforms as you're recording.
That's what was happening, and I hate it. And I remember making fucking that Prince's Echoes. I don't know. Fucking Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Grace. Yeah. Look, I think there's a couple of great songs on that record, just as good as any of our records. But I don't like the way it was made. I don't like the way that producer works.
And did the whole band feel that way too?
After it, yes. I mean, I think that Wasting Light was a reaction to that. It was like, okay, wow, cool. That's what we sound like, perfectly in time and perfectly pitched. I would rather bust my ass as hard as I could and play it 1,000,000 times till I got it as good as I humanly possibly could. I'll take that perfection over some bullshit perfection that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
I mean, I even heard Linkin Park made their record on tape.
Yeah, well, the next step would be recording live, which we don't do, and very few bands are doing now.
We did a couple of tracks sort of live.
No,
you guys replaced your guitars and stuff.
How is it
your drum tracks are live.
My drum tracks were live.
That's not recording live.
Your tour to London, Metallica last year, they used a fake name by the name of Dahan, and now you guys have used the Holy Shits for your secret show. Who came up with that name?
I did.
Did you? I thought it was you. And how did
it come? Why'd you think it was me? I just seemed like the kind of guy.
And how did that come about?
I don't know. We always kind of think of names for bands, like good names for bands. So I have a cover band called Chevy Metal.
Yeah.
My little side project was called the Birds of Satan,
which is brilliant, by the way.
Oh, thank you. My first band that I had was called the Coattail Riders, because I'm obviously coattail riding the fact that I'm in the fucking Foo Fighters. The only reason anybody would listen to my fucking music. So I always come up with stupid little names, and I think I just said that to Dave once. Wow, we should call ourselves the Holy Shits and to go do it. Like that's a great little stupid punk rock band name. And we're like, oh, okay, cool, we'll use that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You guys are great at building up hype. You've built up awesome hype with the show, the album, on Facebook.
It's not really us. I mean, we say something, and it's usually Dave says something, and he texts an idea to a bunch of folks that work for us, and they fucking put it together.
It is
the germ of the idea comes from us.
Now, recently, you two have been criticized for their kind of PR idea of giving away an album for free.
Criticized for it?
Yeah, criticized
for giving away a record free. That doesn't seem like very gracious.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you guys.
And didn't Radiohead already do that a couple of years ago?
They did, but now what you two have done is they've given it away to iTunes users.
I think it's kind of brilliant, actually. Like, guess what you got? The new U2 record. Well, I didn't want it. Well, you got it anyways. You should probably listen to it. What the fuck?
So it's a good PR move? Bad PR move?
I don't know. I guess it's fine.
Got us talking about U2.
Yeah, everybody's talking about U2.
If they hadn't done that, we sure shit wouldn't be talking about the new U2 record right now.
Thing
very true.
What I would like to see U2 do is sit in a room and play music together.
Don't think they do that.
I don't think they do that. I don't. I think that they're one of those bands that, like, Bono's over in Israel talking to some, person about something political, and Edge's in Malibu, and Larry Mullen's at his castle, and they all just send, like, files to each other, and then some Danger Head, or whatever his name is, producer guy fucking takes it and puts it all together, and they send it around to each other, and that's how they make records. And I think a lot of people make records like that nowadays, and that's okay.
But obviously it impacts a band if you're not together.
The thing is I've seen U2 on stage not even that long ago. We watched it. We were we were doing an MTV, a Grammys.
Mm.
We were there. The year that we didn't win anything, remember that?
That was funny.
It was actually really funny.
That was really
we're all there with our wives and shit, and all of the Grammy things went by.
We were nominated for like 30.
We got nominated for tons of them, and we didn't win one of them.
Were you on the ride there?
Yeah.
That was because we were all riding in this car with
it was
our
like
publicist on the way to the fucking Grammy Awards.
yeah.
And he's getting updates as we're going, like fucking all dressed up to go to the Grammys. Like, didn't get that one.
No, didn't get that one.
And by the time we were just defeated by the time we
got there. But okay, so the important part of this story is you two are on stage at one point, and they were like in a small confined little space as well. They weren't like taking up the whole stage. Remember, it's almost like they'd made this little like sort of club gig for you two on stage at the Grammys, and they were doing that song Vertigo, which was a good rock song.
Yeah.
But to see all four of them there together, like this fucking close to each other, and the power of that band that way, like that, all playing instruments right there, right in your face, was super fucking powerful.
Really?
Super powerful.
So you still rate them as
super
a good band?
X Factor, something, they're special. They're a special band. I definitely rate them. I I want to hear October and Boy and War. I mean, hey, I bet you there's plenty of people out there who go, I wish Foo Fighters sounded like they did back like during Color and the Shape and stuff.
Oh yeah, but if they were playing like they did on those early records, they'd be gone. Be gone.
What? Why?
You can't go back and make that record. They can't.
No, I know they can. I know they can. But I mean, I don't think it's the point of making those records and writing those songs again. I think it's more the point of like having a band feel. Because I heard a couple of those tracks on that new record, and it sounds to me doesn't sound like.
Does it? No.
It doesn't sound like a band playing together. They're fine. Songs are good. Bono's a great singer, and they're all great musicians, and it's pleasant enough, but it's not what I want from you two. But I mean, they'd probably go tell me to go fuck myself as they take their helicopter to their next stadium gig.
Let's quickly chat about your South African tour. Any chance of secret gigs there?
Where?
In South Africa?
Always a chance.
Always a chance?
I don't know exactly what our schedule is, but I do know that if there's a chance, and then maybe we will.
Sweet. And you guys like to have your kids tour with you, and you got to look after them. Is it cool? Is it cool to have them with?
To have the kids out?
Yeah.
We've done it twice, and I think we're going to do it next year too. We go and play a bunch of festivals in Europe, and rent a plane and bring all the families with us. And the two times we've done it, it's the best touring we've ever done for me. For me, I think it's the most fun I've ever had. It's really great to be able to do this thing, and then have your family's right there with you, and all the kids are running around playing together. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. It's tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't as much for you.
I only have one kid, so it's easy.
Yeah,
it's a different thing.
Yeah, for me, I have two kids, and then I'll have a baby at that point. So it's like I'm literally like a fucking zombie, and then I get up on stage and wake up and do a 2.5 hour show. And then try and fall asleep after that, and then the kids wake you up 3 hours later, just a zombie. So it's tiring.
Yeah.
And beautiful, super beautiful, all at the same time. I mean, at one point I'll be playing at a stadium in front of 70,000 people and somewhere in Germany or something, and at a festival or whatever, and behind me is kind of like the romper room of the kids area, and there's literally 12 kids sitting behind me, all holding my drumsticks, and they're all Nate's kids and Dave's kids and my kids and Sheffield's kids, and they're all sitting there and hanging out, getting along. And then the fucking plane is mayhem because we rent this big jumbo jet, and there's just kids running around everywhere, and it's just
that was really cool.
Candy and chocolate all over everybody's faces and pants and stuff. Yeah. It's great.
We have to wrap this up because I'm sure you guys want to go have a break and do sound check and everything. Your story about the Rolling Stones, when it was a few years ago and you guys had to open for the Rolling Stones, You're hoping to bond with them.
Yeah.
You guys ended up
jam session backstage, maybe.
Ended up in a caravan far away from the stadium.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys opened for bands when you were with Donald and bands that opened for you, which is the best band that you've actually toured with or opened with that you really bonded and created great?
Supergrass.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we loved them, and unfortunately they're not a band anymore. And those two experiences, Supergrass, and we just wanted them to be a big band, and we just felt like the world is missing something because they don't know Supergrass as well as we do. The other quick caveat, and this was on tour. I was on tour with Alanis Morissette when I first started out.
Yeah.
That was one of my first sort of pro gigs, and I literally they spent 2 weeks on the road with us, and all they did the entire time was write OK Computer. So we would do a 10-minute sound check, get our, play You Ought to Know or whatever, and make sure we got everything we needed. And then Radiohead would do a 2-hour sound check. And I literally sat there and would sit there every single day and watch them write that record. I watched them write that record from the beginning to the end. I watched them write all the parts of Paranoid Android and argue about how to put them together and everything. I literally watched them write that record. And I think that's one of the greatest sort of rock records of the last 25 years for sure. The top 5 greatest records. And to watch those guys write that record was fucking absolutely a brilliant experience that I could never repay anybody for. It was amazing.
Brilliant.
So that's the greatest tour with other band experience. Well, sorry, and name missed it.
It's pretty good.
You guys had Jawbox with you.
Guys, thank you so much.
Oh, whatever.